Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
It's a house!
Ah, it's a house! It's a house! There's the dogs over there, the shit eaters, the dogs that roll around and play in their own poop all day long. Good stuff, good stuff. Alright. They don't actually do too much of that, but it's just, God, I think they eat too much food or something. Yeah. I was watching the Duke game. I thought that was hilarious. Everybody just, I mean, Cooper Flagg's a pretty good player, but people make it sound like he's freaking, like God. He's the greatest player in the history of mankind. Yeah, he's good. I mean, you know. There's no denying that, but you know, they're great players. They win games like that, don't they? They figure out a way to win it for him, but he kind of just kept fumbling around and making mistakes all the way through there, and they lost. You know? Oh well. Well, anyways, hope you guys, most of you saw the video that I made today. I was thinking about it earlier, about putting the text messages sort of in context. You know, somebody typed it in too, but I've been planning on doing it. Do we already got the trolls here? We should go through the comments. Try not to just mumble about random stuff. Let's get to it, Dre. Blah 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 blah. How about those? I saw a bird flying in the sky yesterday. It was flying really high. It had a worm in its mouth, and it dropped the worm on the ground. And then another bird went and picked it up off the ground, and then that bird walked across the street, and then a cat chased the bird, and then the bird flew away really quickly. And then, yeah, I'm just going to sit here and talk about random stuff for the next hour and a half. Please help support the channel tonight. Even though this is a later show, I need your guys' support on a nightly basis because that's what we do over here. You know, other than that, okay, good for you, Chuck. See you later. Have a good night. Let's see. I had Duke all the way up. I thought it was amazing that the number one seeds made up the Final Four. I don't know if that's ever happened before. That's like a miracle. Usually there's a huge upset sometime in there. Yeah, you don't need to, Chuck. There's no need to watch it. Don't worry about it. What's up with the people's comments in here? Who cares? You know? Hey, this show's later than normal, isn't it? Yeah, okay, good for you. And then Chuck comes in. Hey, earlier shows are better for me, but I can watch on replay if needed. Hey, if you don't want to watch it, you don't want to watch it. It's okay. We don't need to hear your running play-by-play on what you know. Just either watch it or don't watch it. It's not a big deal. That happened in 2008. Yeah, that's a long time ago. Yes, Nikki Zibs. I'm going to mumble all night long just to accommodate calm down near buddy, whatever the hell that means. Oh, cool, Chuck. I'm just saying we don't need to hear your, like, wow, earlier shows are better, so I'll watch later on a replay if needed. Yeah, just don't worry about it, just, I mean, I'm glad you watched the videos on replay. I just don't understand why it's needed to be typed in. You get what I'm saying? You sound like me bothering my mom in the morning when she's sleeping. I don't know what that means. Let's see. As long as the mumbling isn't about sports, I'm good to go. Okay, let's keep talking about sports then. As long as you're the one that it bugs. I think there's a lot of drunk people showing up here. Way to be the most unlikable man on the internet. You take things way out of context. Way to have the stupidest username in the history of YouTube. What a dummy. Wow. Well, I wasn't talking about you, Chuck, but I was just saying in general. You get the trolls showing up out of here. Yeah. Yeah, they got their asses kicked, Walker. Let's see. Yeah, it was a pretty, it's a good game for sure. I mean, it shows you that hard work and defense and people playing hard can beat more skilled players. I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm just looking at all the trolls that show up in here. You wish you had half the brains I do. Good night. You're an idiot, Big Balls. Okay? And you know how we know that? Because your name says that. That means you're stupid. Okay? What kind of an idiot would put a name like that as a username? A dumb person. All right? Hey, thanks, Jessica Schubach. All right. Gray, I didn't come here. You know what? You guys don't have to deal with the crap that I have to deal with on a nightly basis. Okay? You come in here, you're just going to do a show, and you get one weird comment after another for 20 minutes. It's crazy. What does that mean, which name Gray? What does that mean? Well, my name's Gray, yeah. Yeah, thanks. The video I made today is the reality of the case. Now, what we can do later is go through the comments, and most of them are pretty nice. We can go read through them, and there's just some absolutely nut jobs that follow the Brian Coburger case. They are so pumped about Cy Ray and how, he's uncovered a big cover-up by the prosecution. It's exculpatory. Listen, Cy Ray has been discredited in such a way in the past that he shouldn't even put his face anywhere near a case again. Okay, like there was a case where he was doing where the person was being charged with stalking. And hey, thanks Jessica Schubach for the Drunk Troll Fund. This person was being charged with stalking, and Cy Ray was able to show with his magical device. It's very similar to a spirit box, where it can determine that this guy was right next to the house every single night, just stalking and stalking and stalking. Unbelievable. In his vehicle too. Darn it, it turns out, though, the GPS tracker on the phone showed that he was nowhere near there. Wow. Yeah, and so the judge just says, this guy's not credible at all. And so that's what you're looking at with a guy named Cy Ray. All right, I'm just going off of what's in the media. All right, that's just the opinions that are out there. Now, you guys, the pro-burgers out there, might think he's the greatest person in the world because he's helping defend the person you love who's a quadruple killer. Good for you. Yay. You guys are embarrassing. Yeah, he is. Now, there might have been a time, you know what I think he was? Sort of a higher. I would actually go back and look at all the cases that he testified in, and his testimony was crucial. They should go back and review those cases, because I think he was sort of similar to like a Dr. Baden, where he's a hired gun to make the information look the way he wants it to look, and sort of massages the data to sort of, oh, look at, he was over here. You know, it's just, it's sick. Yeah. But anyways, if you guys like the video I put out today, if you could please consider supporting the channel on this live stream, because there is no ad revenue whatsoever on these live streams. Even though you're watching ads sometimes, you might make $10 total. So we need more income than that on these streams to support the channel and to do all the great stuff we do at the end of the month. This channel is given away, unlike any of the Coburger supporters, 200 and over 235. What are we at now? Right here, this one. $238,511 since January of 2020. And it's the extra income that's brought in each month that I'm able to give away large portions. So if you guys have the ability to and you like my work, that would be great. People like Calm Down Airbuddy are absolute morons that show up on channels every night and troll their way into oblivion. All right? All right, excellent. Hey, thanks, Walker. Now, for some people might think the video's okay, right? But the problem is the absolutely accurate video, 100%, everything in there. The only thing that is I had to make an interpretation on is there was 2 times behind on, let's see, Willanta Drive behind 1119 King Road, where the phone, or not the phone, the vehicle was spotted 2 times in a row heading south. Now, we don't know when you say the vehicle. It was just lights back there. So one of those 2 probably was the vehicle, because it heads back up north next and then cuts back around. Yeah, I didn't make just 1,200. That'd be stupid. How would I make 1,200 and give 5,000 to charity? And nobody asked you, Chuck D's. What do you do? Look around, look up. I don't even know what I made last month yet. They haven't sent us the checks. You're crazy, man. I think Chuck D's is right on the verge of trollness. Not sure what. Nobody asked you to fill in anything. Nobody asked anything. Yes, this channel gave $5,000 out last month. I mean, I hope I didn't only bring in 1,200 for myself. That would be just sick, sad to put that much work in there. Yeah. Let's see. No, I mean, I try to give a large portion. I'm not going to say from all sources that I give more than I make. I give a huge portion of my income. That's what I do. It's, you know, I think all true crime YouTubers should probably give a portion of their income to causes related to true crime, because it's such a, you know, it's the topic. There's so many victims involved. You see what I'm saying? Ah, jeez. Okay, here we go. Thanks. Calm down, Airbody. Bye. See you next time. I don't know who you are, Shannon. Are you okay? Are you drunk? Just, I don't even know what you guys are talking about. See what I'm saying, you guys? Look at these crazy comments in here. Look at this stuff. What's a temperature tantrum? Never heard of that before. Yeah, there's these websites, and they're so off on how much they say you make, too. I mean, it's just unbelievable. One of them said, my channel made like $500,000 in a year, and it's not even close to that. I mean, it is, you know, one year I gave like $60,000 to charity, and I think the channel, you know, I don't even remember what the channel made, but it was, I'm sure the total gross income was over 100, but, you know, I'm giving 60,000 away, you know, and I do get a tax break on it, of course. Who the hell wouldn't claim it? But it's not a dollar for dollar. It's like you save, let's say you made $100,000, and then you give 60,000 in charity away. Well, now your income is 40 that you're taxed on, not the, you know, so it takes that off. So you're just saving like a 25%. The difference is without this channel, that money wouldn't have been given. That's what's the thing that these guys always forget. It's just a bulk effect that people are supporting the channel, and at the end of the month, there's a like a bulk, whatever the income is, and I donate a large portion of it to try to keep making a difference. We have a charity fund too. Yeah. Yeah, I would say if I made 25,000 and donated 5, that's good. I don't make that much though. But if somebody made 25,000 and donated 5,000, that's really good, because the 5,000 is, you know, the 25,000 you get taxed about 30% total with state and federal, right? So then now you're at 18,000, and then you gave 5, and you know, it's at the end of the year, it doesn't work out that great when you're paying, because then you have to pay quarterly taxes. Like, for example, this last month, my entire month went to paying my quarterly taxes. It sucks. I mean, I guess I should do it smarter and save like a third, and then it's not a big devastating blow. But hey, thanks. One for you. Yeah, it's not really a budget. Like, there's some months, if I made like 7,000, I can't donate anything. That's the problem, because if you bring in 7,000, then you have to pay taxes. You might bring in 5, and that's like 60,000 a year. That isn't really the greatest, you know, especially here in Oregon, where everything is freaking, you know, you have federal and state taxes and Multnomah County tax, and it's just the stupidest freaking thing I've ever heard. So it's like after that, then I start giving away like a huge portion of it. About the case, haven't heard anything. Yeah, well, hey, SU for victim, you look at these idiots that show up in here. Listen to this. Just popped in to hear about the case. Haven't heard anything about the case yet. Be back later. Love the video. I don't listen. Don't come back later, okay? I'm just talking for a little bit, all right? You know, there's so many trolls in here tonight that I'm just responding. It's kind of fun though. It's what do you think he's doing right now at this moment? He's sitting in his cell staring at the ceiling thinking, why the hell did I leave that knife sheath? I should have cleaned it better. I think he thinks about that knife sheath 24/7. He thinks about that all the time. Okay? Yeah, he's not sleeping. He's thinking about the knife sheath. That's all he does. I think it's like he might as well get a tattoo of the K-bar knife sheath on his arm at this point. That actually would be pretty funny, wouldn't it? Hey, thanks up there to K-Me, and one for you, and Calm Down, whatever the hell, and then Walker, and Jessica Schubach, and Nikki Zubs. Yeah, alright. So anyways, this is what I was going to do is, so we have, in one of the more recent documents, it had sort of a more structured breakdown of the text messages. And then, you know, I have this animation that the whole thing that we put together, and what I was thinking of doing was, you know, there's parts that I sped up 400%, and then one spot that I sped up 300%. Hey, look at that. Vicky White gifted a membership to Victoria Gomez. Thank you. Hopefully you guys can gift some memberships tonight to people. So what we would do is we're going to go and put the, I would say just starting at 253, the Madison Mogan calls Bethany, no, not 253, let's see, 351. 253 is just earlier in the evening. It's not really related. Madison Mogan called Bethany Funk almost exactly the same time that Dylan Mortensen and Kaylee were calling Jack, Kaylee's boyfriend. So they were trying to call him, but he wasn't responding. And so that was almost 3 o'clock, you know. I wonder what that was about. Like, hey, can you try calling him too? I wouldn't be surprised, except it's not in the records, that Bethany Funk called Jack. Anyways, let's click on, this is the nested sequence here. This is the earlier portion. So right here it says 3:51 and 3 seconds. Dylan Mortensen creates a new contact in her phone. So that means she's awake right at that time. But that might be right before she sort of dozed off, right? And it wasn't 4 o'clock when she started hearing noises. It was around 4, and I think it's going to be like 4:09, so there was a good 15 minutes or so where she could have laid down and maybe started nodding off and fallen asleep and then was woken up. I don't know, Jason, who cares why anybody says anything? Why do you care about stuff like that? You guys are just unbelievable. You know, why did the parents say that they died around 2? Because that's probably what they thought at the beginning, yeah? It has nothing to do with anything. It's just wild, the thoughts that go through people's minds. Alright, so this is the first one right here at 3:51. Here, I'll go to the beginning. 3:51 and 3 seconds. That is when Dylan creates a new contact in her phone. Alright? So we got that. And then what time is, and then this go, there's nothing else in that timeline that's inside of the Elantra movements. Okay, so we can just get out of that and then move over to, let's see, I think it's this one, and then inside this whole thing here, 416, and then right up until, right inside of this, I think that's, yeah, so in the time that the vehicle was, let's see, they're just waiting there and doing the blood spatter mitigation was taking place. That's when things started to happen. So it's really kind of interesting. He's already outside. That's exactly what I was always telling everybody, that they wouldn't have started calling or texting if he was still in the house. So he's out doing the blood spatter mitigation, and then at 4:19:07 right here, let me move this over. At 4:19:07, Bethany Funk calls Xana. Then at 4:20 and 0 seconds, right there, Dylan calls Xana. So Bethany calls Xana, then Dylan calls Xana. And then 4:20:20, I think that's this one. I'm just going to put it in the right spot. 4:20. Jesus. Dylan calls Kaylee. So you can see that they're all calling people. And this is all during the time where the blood spatter mitigation was taking place. All right, guys, we're currently at 1/10 of the nightly goal. So if you guys have the ability to help support the channel, I would appreciate it. As I explained earlier, a lot of times it feels like it just falls on deaf ears. All right, and then 4:20:28 right here. Dylan calls Bethany for 41 seconds. At 4:20, how could they talk for 41 seconds? Dylan Mortensen calls Bethany Funk for 41 seconds. And then at 4:21, which is only 32 seconds later, Bethany Funk calls Xana. How? While she's on the phone with Dylan? Hey, thank you, Curly Lock Diva. Oh yeah, I got to turn on my streamlabs here real quick. And Lisa Valenzuela sent a coffee in. It's a good way to support the... Yeah, maybe. I mean, you know, it just seems kind of odd to do a conference call while you're on the phone, but I guess they could have. What does FTW stand for? Yeah, I know they have. I know that exists, you guys. It just seems really weird in the middle of the night to be calling somebody. Hey, let's do a three-way call. You know, it just seems strange. So, I mean, I guess that's the only thing that really explains it. And then 4:20 and 28 seconds. That's that one. And then 4:21 a.m. exactly. I don't think it's in here. Then that's inside of this other sequence here. And then it's 4:21 exactly. So right here, look, right when the car is just coming around the corner here, right there, 4:21, Bethany calls Xana. I mean, isn't it amazing? Hey, look at that. Alan McMahon gifted 5. Hey, man, thanks. Appreciate that. Some rando. It's always great when somebody called some rando gets a channel membership. Then Jennifer DeMar, Dawn, Tabitha the Witch, and that's her name. I didn't say Tabitha the Witch because of past behavior. That's just their username. And Lisa. There we go. Okay, 4:21. And then let's go to 4:21:50. I think it's this one. It's Dylan calls Madison. So the car's already out of the neighborhood at this point. And then 4:22 a.m. Bethany calls Ethan. It's just kind of interesting, right? To see where the car, you know, the killer's still in this car driving out away from the scene as these people are freaking out. All right, now there's new ones I got to put in. So this one is welcome, Ducky. And thanks, Mick Iller. There it is. Background. Okay. And this one is Dylan. Yeah, my friend up there, hold on, where is that, the 5, and then, yeah, Alan, he's always in the YouTube streets of the, you know, pro-burger nutters. Just listening. What's the erg about, Zozo? Are you complaining again that we're covering this, or Jesus? Let's see. Dylan to Bethany. Right there. No one is answering. Hey, thanks Jennifer DeMar and Jax D. Alright, let's see. Yeah, we had a lot of trolls here earlier. You missed them. There's a bunch of them. Well, there's way more pro-burgers that make videos and follow the case intently, you know, like really, you know, way more. All right, so that's 4:22:08, so probably make it about that long again. But then at 4:22:11, which is just after that, so I could actually make that up a little higher and then, you know, keep that on the screen for a little bit, because it kind of shows you how quickly they're just, so right there. We have Dylan Mortensen to Bethany Funk. Let's see. So go up there like that. And then maybe this one kind of comes in right there. Wait, no, I don't want it there. Oops. So they put it on the same one. It's stupid. Okay. So this is going to be Dylan Mortensen to Bethany. So Dylan to Bethany. I'm really confused right now. And then go back to the 11 right there. So it's kind of like boom, boom, like that. That's kind of cool. And then 4:22:42, Dylan Mortensen sent a text message to Kaylee saying, Kaylee. So then we move it forward. 4:22:42, right there. Isn't it? It's kind of interesting, right? When you see that the vehicle's driving around. Yeah, it's amazing. They just don't care. Hey, thanks, Maury A. Let's see then. Dylan to Bethany. I'm really confused right now. No, we already did that one. It's this one. We just did that one. Hold on. All right. There we go. And the next one is 4:22 and 23 seconds. See, isn't that amazing? Like, how did that? I mean, she must be the quickest texter in the world. She said. And so at 4:22:42, Dylan texted Kaylee and said, "Kaylee," and then 1 second later, she said, I guess another one, "What's going on?" and a different text message. I mean, I don't know how you type that fast. That's pretty amazing, though. So that would be right there. I guess I've seen people text that quick. You guys are like, it's crazy. Some of these young people. How quickly they can text. Dylan to Kaylee. I think this would be a good way to present it in court. Something like this, where he's came in, the shark was circling the area, stalking its prey, and then as the shark was swimming away after its meal, there's these people panicking, sending text messages back and forth. Man, what's going on? I'm just going to put a question mark there, because that's what that is. Alright, so that was supposed to be at 43, so then I'm going to go back to that spot and then put it right above, and then maybe take this one and move it up in the corner a little bit, like up in there, and then when this one pops in, have it come in down there and a little smaller, like that. See? So that'd be pretty sweet. So when it's playing, it'll be like this. 4:42. Dylan to Kaylee. And then maybe they go off the screen pretty quickly after that. What do you guys think? Does that look pretty good? Yeah, you know, if you send put questions and super chats, I really see them a lot better. We're hitting one of those lulls again. Let's examine defense's 7-minute difference timeline. There isn't. What are you talking about? That it doesn't. I don't want to examine it. You mean when the 46 to 53. You're talking about the 246. It doesn't mean anything. It's absolutely meaningless information that the phone went off at 2:53. I even brought that up in my argument with ChatGPT and said, well, Moscow, Idaho is only a 15-minute drive from Pullman, so what difference does it make? You know, the first sighting was at 3:26. What difference does it make that the phone went off at 2:53? It's absolutely meaningless, despite what Ann Taylor wanted you to know. Well, it's really significant, you know. Don't make it seem... No, it's not. That's why she said that, because she knew it wasn't. It would have been self-evident if it was. Yeah, I mean, I'm just telling you, like, I've thought through this stuff. It's that's why for a long time I've just realized that there's so many things that are absolutely irrelevant to the case. You know, like, what's relevant is the phone was turned off at 2:53. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's climbing the walls of desperation. I think that's about right. Yeah, Cy-Ray is an idiot, you guys. I mean, I'm just telling you. In my opinion, he is somebody out there who's just trying to make a name for himself, and he's going to try to create something that's not true. All right? Look at, here's why it doesn't mean anything. Listen to this for a second. Okay, I'm going to show you guys this on a map. Just know what I'm telling you is reality, not what Cy-Ray, the hired, previously discredited expert. And he was discredited for exactly the same thing, pretending that the phone was pinging in a certain area when the absolute information of GPS coordinates on the vehicle proved absolutely otherwise. I mean, it was embarrassing, okay? That should have absolutely made it so he was never able to testify again. I think they probably didn't do that because there's so many cases that he testified in. They're kind of nervous about those old ones. If I had a client that was ever had him as a witness after seeing the case that he was discredited in, I would be like, oh my God, this is... Unless it was just basic ping information. If it was some kind of weirdness using his software and his, quote, interpretation, I would have huge questions if that information is what was the main factor in a conviction. Who cares, Melissa? Alright, so if you're out there and you want to help support the channel, we got the coffees, we got the you can buy memberships for people, we can get super chats. It all helps support the channel. We're currently at 1/5 of the goal for the night. So if we can get to the goal, then I'll donate 5 memberships myself, and it'll be good. What are your credentials to prove he's wrong, you idiot? An idiot? Did you read the affidavit? Can you read? Right. Yeah, we can all read. It's garbage, okay? And here's the thing is, once you realize that he tried to sell to the courts that a vehicle was stalking a house, only to be, by his magical software, only to later find out that there was actually GPS tracking on the vehicle and he was nowhere near there. How do you believe anything he says anymore? I mean, don't you understand that? It's crazy. Apparently not. Ooh. I don't have... Yes, you guys, I'm going to be honest. I do not have cell tower data forensic credentials. I'm sorry. I just have a brain that functions, all right? Look at, here's the area right here. See this? See, originally it was like 246 or 247 or 6 or so. The phone was turned off over here. All right. Turns out it was turned off at I think it was 247, and now it's 254. I believe that the phone was turned off. All right. It's 7 minutes. It's over here, right? So if the phone turns off and it's right over in this area, and maybe it's heading this direction, let me ask you this. If the phone is heading this direction, let's say it's going that way, and Cy-Ray can prove that the vehicle was driving this way on 270 at 254, how does that have any bearing on anything? His phone was off, so there's no more tracking at all with Cy-Ray's magical phone device. There's no more tracking of it, and it only takes 15 minutes to get from right here to Moscow, Idaho, which is like 3:10. His vehicle wasn't spotted over there until 3:26. All right? So who cares if it was going west for a little bit? There's all kinds. Look, he could have been like this, west, taken this street, driven down like that. Who the hell knows, man? Maybe he got back up on the highway again, turned around. His phone was not being... If he was a criminology student, sure, he could have turned, went this way, knowing it looked like that. Then he turns off his phone, and then he turns back around so that the last movement of his phone is going that direction. But it doesn't mean anything. It absolutely means absolutely nothing. It's incredible. His phone is off. Cy-Ray cannot prove a damn thing when that phone is off. Do you guys understand that? The phone was off from 2:53 until 4:47 when it pinged near Blaine, or 4:48. Right there. 4:48 near Blaine. Okay, it's over here, which is south of Moscow, and he's going to come up with some crazy algorithm. Oh, it's going to show that his phone was over here somewhere. He was just out for a drive, and yet Ann Taylor herself admitted that his vehicle was driving by right here. I guess it was 401 going this direction, missing its front license plate. Then they tracked that vehicle going around. It's the same suspect vehicle they've been watching. They just finally had a clear picture of the front license plate being missing. All right, I don't know if anybody heard what I said a minute ago, but if you're out there and you have the ability to help support the channel, I would appreciate it. This channel relies on the people watching. You know, I did a video today that did okay, but not great, and then the video that I put out the day before did horrendously. So if you guys can help support the channel, you guys are what make it so that we can do all the great stuff that we do at the end of the month, along with my ad revenue that I do myself, and then the you know, we got channel memberships, etc. But I'm asking for your support for the channel, so if you can please do that, that'd be great. Any amount works. Doesn't you know, nobody's required to either. You know, nobody, if you can't afford it, then don't do it. You posted one above, thank you. I don't know what that means. Posted one above. I don't see it. Let me see if I can find it. I think oh yeah, right there. I think he left the sheath as a decoy. I think he left it as a calling card, not a decoy. I mean, I don't know how it would be a decoy. How would the sheath be? I don't think it was trying to pretend. I mean, I guess you could say it was two different things. Like, okay, maybe he left the knife sheath to make it look like it was an army person or somebody in the military or some kind of connection that did it. Right? Yeah. I think Idaho and Washington require front license plates, so there isn't really a lot of white Elantras driving around that are missing a front license plate. Great, there's 50,000 Elantras in the area. Oh, you're really? So there's only 20,000 people that live in Moscow, Idaho, and so each person has 2.5 Elantras? Wow, that must be the most boring vehicle town I've ever seen where everybody has 2 white Elantras. And by the way, how many white Elantras out of the 50,000 were there? Well, maybe there's 10 of those. So that means half the people in Moscow, Idaho had white Elantras. And then, and how many of them drive around at 3:30 in the morning missing a front license plate? You guys are... I bet you there's less than 100 people in Moscow, Idaho that have a white Elantra. And I bet it might even be less than that. And I bet you that none of the other ones in that area have a missing front license plate. And I bet you none of the other ones also were driving around at 3:30 in the morning on that night. No, I don't think he covered his back plates. He knew he was changing his plates right away, but that's kind of dumb too, right? Because it's easy to look up, hey, look at these license plates. Who is this one? Oh, yeah, he's just changed his plates in Washington. You know, I mean, I think Coburger's kind of dumb, you know? I do. I think he's a dumb person. He was thinking that he was going to be changing his plates really soon, and that'll be a great time to do this because it'll be different plates instead of just realizing that when you type in the plates, hey, thanks so much, Jennifer DeMar. Wonder how often he shut his phone off in the past. Who shuts their phone off? Silence, yeah, but not off. Yeah, I think very few people actually just turn off their phone regularly. It's just sort of on all the time. You put it in silent mode, etc. And I do, Gray, I really do. Okay, but you're not a normal person. It's, I am, Gray. I was deemed normal in a psychology... Okay. All right, good for you. Good for you. Driving a car is not illegal, and a car is not the crime scene. What does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with anything? Yeah, right, everybody. Nobody, there isn't a soul. Put a 1 if you've said driving a car is illegal. Yeah. Yeah, those are the dumb Coburger logic type questions. Just really mind-numbingly stupid comments that are meant to, you know, sort of make it seem like they're just really on top of things, but it's not, man. Yeah. How about this? See, Coburger, you can just look at it like this. He thought that by changing the license plate, it would give him some cover, and it's just really dumb logic, because if they determined the license plate, they would track it through the system. And then he thought that if he separated his DNA out of the garbage can and put it in the neighbor's, when they finally got to his house to check for DNA, his wouldn't be in the garbage, which is absolutely true. Except it turns out the DNA in the garbage can was his father, which is equally as damning. It was the biological father of the contributor to the DNA on the knife sheath. He is so... Wow. I guess he missed that class. Thanks, Marilise. Remember the WSU student, the SWAT team? Yeah. What does that have to do with anything? I don't care about the person. You mean Brent Kopaka? You mean the one that the dad tried to bring up on both officers when they were pulled over, as if that was the big story, when it wasn't? The big story around was the national news that right down the street from Pullman, Washington, there was 4 college students killed, but his dad just kept trying to say, hey, yeah, did you hear about that college? Yeah, no, we didn't hear about that one. We heard about the 4. Yeah. I don't know what that means. Right, yeah, that was the next thing I was going to say. And then he leaves a knife sheath that maybe if he left it intentionally, he thought he cleaned it up really well, but he didn't. He missed a little spot on the bottom of the snap. Yeah, he's a germaphobe, right. He's only scared of his own germs, though, Alan. He's only scared of his own germs. He throws those into other garbage cans. You know, another thing that the pro-burgers say often is stuff like, how did he not leave any DNA in his car? How did he not do that? And then you say to yourself, who's the one type of person that could achieve something like that? Well, probably somebody that's a doctoral student in criminology, right? That might know, and he wrote a paper, for God's sakes, that talked about how not to contaminate a crime scene. And so he knew exactly how to not contaminate that vehicle. And even then, he knew that it's possible there could be some trace, something, and he spent all the time in that month cleaning that car over and over again inside, even though he took the steps to just dramatically reduce the exposure to that vehicle. He was a, what do you mean he was not yet a PhD candidate? What the hell are you talking about? Let's see, if he was that concerned with germs, he should have kept those forestry brows trimmed down. Oh, come on, don't use the terms from ChatGPT, all right? Man, this is going to be one of those nights, huh? 422, 47, 422, no, 43. Okay, now we're on to 4:23 a.m. right here. Yep, if you got a question, comment, put it in the old, put it in a super chat. Hey, thanks, Walker. Whoop whoop. I got some weird animations there. What is that? Oh, it's a controller that has arms on it. Bethany. Yeah, outgoing message to Snapchat. Probably again trying to contact one of these friends on one of those apps. I would bet money on it. Probably maybe trying to get a hold of Madison or Kaylee or something on there. I know, it's crazy in here tonight, Zozo. You should have seen it when it started. You had to be here. It was just, wow, that was... All right. Now, in a minute, so what we're going to do after this is we're going to go open up my last video and go through the comments and see what we can find. Lisa Valenzuela always answers questions that are directed to me. Just let me answer the ones that are to me, but she's always in there battling the nutters, you know. Just because they think differently, Gray. No, it's because they think stuff that is just bizarre, you know, crazy, you know, like almost like you sit around and watch Ancient Aliens all day. You know, the guy with the poofy hair. Let's see. So that was right. Let me make it a little smaller right there. That was 4:23:15 and 4:23. Let's make that a little smaller. Probably like right there, and then 4:23:28. There's another one. And this one is Bethany Funk to Dylan. Xana was wearing all black. Because you know what? I sort of wonder if there was a communication that we don't see. Like, you know, he was wearing all black, and then maybe Bethany is trying to say, you know, well, Xana was wearing all black, not, you know what I mean? Like from earlier in the evening, and was maybe trying to say that maybe it was her. Bethany to Xana. There we go. And so you guys, if you're sort of new here, this channel is, we just go on the factual elements and then speculate reasonably based on the facts. So I guess what you would do is, I mean, we came up with a quote 4 or 5 years ago that was, you fill the box. You know when people say think outside of the box? We do that here. However, we fill the box with facts and then think outside of the box that's filled with facts, so that your speculation that you're thinking about is very it's very likely to be accurate or have a way better chance of being reality, instead of just trying to say, oh, Bethany and Dylan did something. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Olivia. Nobody knows what you're saying. Oh, is it Bethany? Oh, you mean on here? Oh, you're right, yeah. How come that said, did I type that in? Oh, you're trying to correct me. Why don't you say it's supposed to say? Oh, no, Xana was wearing, right, to Dylan. Yeah, Xana was wearing all black. The equation is too difficult. Yeah. Alright, you got that. And then the next one is 423.33, so just like right after that. That's the other way or backwards. Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk saying, man, I'm freaking out right now. I'm freaking out right now. I'm freaking out. There you go. Oh, shit. And the next one is 423.42. I don't know. I'm not going to be able to put them all on. I'm just going to do it until the car exits the area. 423.33. Then 42. Wish that was the case. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what. I mean, the thing is, when you fill a box with facts, that's when you look at it and you go, if all the facts that you're looking at are reasonable and commonsensical, then that's. I mean. I know, that's just what we do here. It's like things that are rational, People don't like it, though, because it's not entertaining. And true crime isn't, I mean, it's entertaining in terms of, like, okay, it's interesting to try to figure out stuff, but you shouldn't look at it as, like, who can be the craziest this week? Let's see who can be the most deranged nutjob who is looking at a video and seeing a guy looking through a dumpster and saying, look, he was told where a weapon was kept, and apparently that's good enough. Hey, a weapon was stored in that garbage can, and that's good enough. Wow, that is what it is. And then later there's another guy near the garbage can that isn't wearing the same clothing, but apparently it's the same guy. Now he's being picked up by the person who sent him there to kill. Man, the story these people have weaved. Now, there are other people moving around behind 500 Queen Road, by the way. There's like probably over 100 people that live in there. And they were walking around. One was like 250 something, or 350, what was it? Yeah, 350 something. Another one, after 4. They're walking around back there, but it isn't the 111, it's not 1122 King Road where the White Elantra was parked. It's almost as if any other person that's moving is now part of the crime, with no evidence pointing to that person at all other than pure timing. Now, You might say, well, you're doing the same thing with the Elantra, but I'm not. And the reason I'm not doing that is because we know that Coburger turned his phone off at 2:53. Then there is a vehicle matching his vehicle driving around at 3:26 and then drives around the neighborhood multiple times, and then it's verified at 4 o'clock showing that it's missing its front license plate. And apparently at 3:28 they said in the probable cause that they could tell it was missing a front license plate. But the image that we see is at like 4:01 near Ridge Road there. And then you say, well, that's still just, you know, the timing of a vehicle that's missing a front license plate. It just happens to be the same model. Okay, yeah. Then that very same vehicle missing the front license plate, after doing multiple looping, stalking the house, you can see what it's doing. It stopped behind the residence at 4:08 is likely about when it parked. At 4:07 and 47 seconds, its lights flashed on, 1127 King Road as it's turning, and then it's going to park. So I'd say at 4:08 it parked. So again, it's just the timing of a white Elantra that's like his, everybody. It's just the timing. But then, between 4:08 and 4:20 and 47, about 4:20, let's say, 4:08 to 4:20, inside that residence, all 4 victims were killed while that white Elantra that was missing a front license plate was parked outside. Okay? All of them were killed. And then you go, wow, okay, that's crazy. So the timing of a white Elantra missing a front plate, it coincides, ironically, with the death of all 4 students. We know that because Anna Kernodle was awake at 4:12, and then she was killed during that time based on Dill Mortensen and Bethany Funk's testimony. All right, so then you look at that and you go, okay, great, yeah. Oh, but then there was a knife sheath found on the bed of Madison Mogan, and it turns out that, darn it, Brian Coburger's DNA was on the knife sheath that matches the white Elantra that was driving around missing a front license plate. And then we just found out recently that, oh, darn it, in March he purchased the exact same make and model of the knife sheath that it was a K-bar knife sheath that was found on the bed, darn it. And then Dill Mortensen said the guy was wearing a balaclava where you could just, it was like a hole where his face was. His eyes, and darn it, he bought one of those in January of 2022. Balaclava, K-bar knife sheath, a white Elantra missing his front license plate, the DNA on a knife sheath found on a bed, meaning that the white Elantra driving around is beyond reasonable doubt whatsoever that was his vehicle driving around. And if you can't see that, then it just means that your brain does not think rationally or logically. It means there's something wrong with you. All right. So anyways, for my explanation right there, if we can get some support for the channel, we're currently still only at a third, not even a third of the nightly goal, which is very disappointing. So if you guys can help pitch in to support the channel on tonight, that would be awesome. I would appreciate it. If you can't afford it, don't do it. Other than that, that would be great. We go over why we need to have the support on a nightly basis, but it seems like a lot of you just sort of forget about it. Yeah, Coburger was just set up. See, and that's exactly what AI said. AI said you have to then do a conspiracy theory and say that Coburger was set up by somebody. It's just ridiculous, okay? It's stupid. 423.48. And that one's Bethany Funk to Dylan Mortensen, STFU. You guys hear what I just said? It's just amazing. Man, unreal. You could pretend that I'm at Starbucks, you know, I just made you a coffee, except that's 3 hours. It's that good. Bethany to Dylan, STFU. And that goes right there. 48 and 51. It's almost right at the same, actually. Yeah, and then they're just really rapid fire right in here. There's another one. Right inside the same time frame. Man, it's dead as a doornail in here, you guys. Massive lull time. Massive lull. Okay, I'm gonna have to make these in different spots. Well, I don't need to do that. I could just be boom. And 51, and then this one's supposed to be 52, so that's right in there. So that one needs to be up higher. I guess the problem is we got a lot of new people watching and they're just not into supporting the channel like the old freaks are, and it's hard to convince them that we do a lot of great stuff, you know. You know, for example, we have a DNA fund that we've put over $100,000 in for identifying Jane and John Does. We have 2 scholarship funds, and you know, that's the only way to make it happen. If you guys want to see it continue on, I'm going to need your guys' support. If you can't do it, then we'll be doing something else. That was kind of, yeah, right there. And the next one is 424 on the dot. Yeah, we are in a massive lull, Russian blue. I mean, there hasn't been a super chat for, I mean, I can't even scroll up far enough where it's off the screen. So it's kind of wild. Even when you're asking people, they just sort of look at you like, ah, screw it, you know. And I hate asking. That's the part that sucks. So it's like two negatives for me. It should just be obvious, you know. Dylan to Bethany. I'm so freaked out. And next one is 42407. I'm just going to do it until the car leaves the screen. She's terrible, Kim Robinson. If you ever mention that channel on here again, I'm removing you. I mean, don't even say it to bring up the name, because I don't want anybody. That's just an absolute garbage place. All right, let's see. Dylan, Bethany to Dylan. And we've only got the one coffee for tonight. Hey, welcome Phyllis Watson. Very cool. 42411. The next one. That one's Dylan Mortensen to Bethany Funk. Phone is going to die F. Two 214. Right there. That one is Bethany Funk to Dylan. Come to my room. So he's still kind of in the lower part, almost on Palouse River Drive right now. Hey, thanks, Jim Lawn. What the hell is a gigawatt? Where is that one?
1.21 gigawatts. What the hell is a gigawatt?
There you go. Hey, thanks. Name and badge number. The two most important traits for a conspiracy theorist are imagination and stupidity. Well, yeah, it almost, but it relies on the viewer to be stupid. You know, like they go, you know, it's just like the spirit box. People are so gullible that they, you know, they rely on having those people listening. And like I said, in a minute here, we're going to go over some of the comments underneath the video that I made. Check it out. That was Come to My Room, right? That one. All right. And 42422. This is when Bethany Funk said, "Run." And then 5 seconds later, at 7, we have Bethany Funk to Dylan Mortensen. Down here. Feeling lucky? No, not really. Bethany to Dylan. Feeling lucky, punk? Dirty Harry. I think that's it, though, right? Now there's, okay. Oh, there it is right there. It's just leaving the screen. Hey, look at it. It's Tamran. I thought it said Tam Tam for a second. Now, those are pretty good if you go to Australia, if you get one of those. Tamran 127 said great work. See, that's, there you go. Thank you. See, See, what I always want is that my channel gets supported because we do things the right way and put out the right information and support causes. And then but you see these other channels that are conspiracy nutters who it looks like a slot machine in there where everybody's just feeding them cash like the, you know, oh, Tim Tam, right, that's right. I'm not, yeah, it didn't sound right in my head when I said Tam Tam. I was like, yeah, that doesn't sound right. Yeah, Tim Tam. I guess, yeah, there's a, Zozo told me about the Tim Tam Slam, where I guess you can kind of bite off the end of it and then you suck coffee through it like it's a straw, kind of. I bet that would be good. Yeah. 4, 24, 27. And the next one is 39. Am I still on here for that? No. So that's going to be it. All right. So there's more text messages, but I'm not driving as much. But I think this will be interesting. Like, why don't we just play it from right here, this portion. You know, so like as the vehicle's leaving, you almost have to go though back to this one. Yes, right in here with blood spatter mitigation. So first you have these ones right here. You grab that bag. That's my, let me just turn off I'll mute it. Hey, thanks Phyllis Watson. Thanks for all you do. Your work is fascinating. Hey, well, thank you. Yeah, well, they're too addictive. God, you got something to send me? All right. Oh, boy. Yeah, you don't eat one. If you eat one Tim Tam, you have more self-control than a priest. Although I'm not sure they have much, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, like, there's no way you just eat one of them. All right. Yeah, that'd be cool if there was dark chocolate ones. Didn't even know they had them. All right, let's see right here. So this is at 4:19. Coburger is at his car right now, taking off his bloody clothing because he left the house, and that's how we know right here is when Bethany Funk calls Xana. Right? Look at that. 4:19:10. Bethany Funk calls in. I think I'm going to make a video that has this information in there, and people can sort of put it to, you know, use it to sort of visualize. And it's just going to be up until the time. So I'm going to move it forward. And so it's 4:19 and 57 seconds. And then right at 4:20, Dylan calls Xana. So Bethany called Xana. And so it makes it seem like they thought something went on with Xana. That they thought of both calling her first. Right? Thanks again to Tamran127. Walker gifted a membership. And then we have Phyllis Watson. Very cool, very cool. Tell you what, though, if we get... I guess we're going to need, if we get 10 more memberships, I'll donate 5 memberships. All right? Or even if it's just $50 worth of super chats or whatever, I'll donate 5 memberships, which cost me $25. But I like giving even back on the shows because it allows us to, you know, try to get more members. And there's 5. Now we just need 9 more. I will take my couple of vodka and tonics to get me on my feet again. Yeah, so like right in here, look. So 4:20:20, Dylan calls Kaylee. So now they're trying to check on all their roommates here. And then I think Dylan even calls Ethan Chapin at some point, or text or something. But anyways, Dylan calls Bethany for 41 seconds. And so then... Now let's go inside of this where we just did all this. And then at 4:21, Bethany calls Xana again. Okay, then the car's driving around, and then not too long later at 4:21:50, Dylan calls Madison. I think Ethan was later, though. When was Ethan? Oh, yeah, that was 4:29:39. It's just 4:24:39, I mean. So I think we do have that somewhere. So right in here, it gets really busy. You know, he isn't too far away, but look at Dylan to Bethany. I'm really confused right now. And then look at all these. You get to 4:22:41. Dylan to Kaylee, or Dylan to Kaylee, and then Dylan to Kaylee. What's going on? Then right here, further down, Bethany outgoing message to Snapchat. Move it forward again. Bethany to Dylan. Yeah, dude, what the F? So this is getting close to... No, it's not. Yeah, well, 4:24:39. This gets busy here, though. Bethany to Dylan. And I'm freaking out right now. And this is while the white Elantra is probably on Palouse River Drive or somewhere else getting rid of the bloody items, because there are 16 minutes of missing time. Bethany to Dylan, actually. Like he had something over his head. Right, the balaclava. Dylan to Bethany. Bethany said Bethant, right? Yeah. I'm not kidding. Phone is going to die. And then come to my room pretty soon here. Run. And then 27 is down here. So my animation doesn't go to 39. It's so close though. It's right there. It's like 37. Yeah, so 39 is when Dill Mortensen calls Ethan Chapin. Maybe I think I still have another version of this to make where it's like the whole thing again at real time with text messages and everything thrown in there. What do you guys think? Would you watch it even if it was like besides Zozo, would you guys watch something if it was like 50 minutes long that had every single sort of thing happening in there? I mean, it would just be like real time, but then it would be sort of interesting just to see all the text messages, and it would start at, I don't know. I guess I'd have to add in, I don't know where the car was between 253 and 326. I don't have any idea. But I think just starting at 326 when it shows up on Indian Hills Drive is a good place to start. People just have such low patience, though. You know, I'll make a video that's 30 minutes long with really interesting stuff, and the average watch time is 10 minutes. It's just, what? What's going on? Why did I make the video? I think it's interesting to see it like this, though, right? You see the text messages where the Elantra is at the time. And it's not too far away. I mean, it's really crazy up in this time frame. I mean, the car is speeding away at a high rate of speed, and almost exactly the same time that the Elantra is, like right there at 4:21:04. The camera at 1112 King Road picks up the vehicle on Malanta Drive just as Bethany calls Xana. So, but what's crazy is all of the action that was going on outside. I think it's that one. Like right during this time frame, right here, he's already left the house at 4:17:25. And Dylan's trying to be quiet. She's quiet. And then Bethany calls Xana at 4:19. And then just moments later, Dylan calls Xana. So it's sort of interesting. I mean, were they communicating in a way that we don't know how? Because, I mean, one calls Xana and the other one calls Xana. And then Dylan calls Kaylee. So just probably each on their own are trying to get a hold of people, but they know each other are still awake somehow. Because I don't know if let's see. I don't know. There's a communication. Let's see. When did they first start? Dylan calls Bethany. All right. So they're probably both just trying to call each other, and eventually, they called Xana. And you know what people do? They call the most popular people first. That's just the way it is. So they try calling, Kaylee and Xana, etc. And then eventually they called each other as part of their, trying to call people to see what the hell's going on. And now they realize that nobody else is responding other than themselves. Comment obstructing? What does that mean? All right, we need 9 more, you guys, and then I'll donate 5 memberships. So we need either 9 memberships or 9 $5 super chats, and we'll get to the goal where I'll send out 5 myself. Although that math didn't really work out. That's actually, yeah. I think that's pretty good. That's pretty close. Because after Jim Lon, we hit the lull again. Hey, there's Deidre Gambrel became a member. I can't tell if there's a comment or not. I have 4 screens. I look at the one that I set everything up on, I don't see it. People cry like babies, though, after the show and go, Gray, I can't believe you left a comment. I don't leave it there intentionally. I'm looking at this screen, and over here, there might be a comment on the screen. All right, there's Walker. 8 more to go. I thought they had something like that, but I don't know if they do or not. But if they have stuff like that, isn't it just even make it more clear to the pro burgers? But they'll find some way to explain it away. I think some of these pro burgers need to actually seek psychological, deprogramming, some sort of some help somewhere. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows if he's done it before. I've been listening to Mindhunter, the audio book by what the hell's his name? John Douglas. I mean, that's really interesting. It's kind of cool because it's sort of like the same commonsensical thinking that you might have. Those guys deploy, just certain way people comment and what the meaning of it is, etc. Yeah. Come on, freaks, you can do it. We need 8 more. Either 8 more channel members or just 220 super chats, whatever it is. $40 is really what we're looking for, and then I'll do $25 giving away to free memberships to more people. How do you find time gray? I don't know what that means. Let's see. What's the cat eye for? I don't get it. That's for when somebody does a cat eye donation. We don't know where there was drinking. We don't know there was drinking, huh? We don't know if, maybe Dylan smoked a little pot or something. I don't know. We don't know what the hell they were doing. I can't believe nobody else seen anything. More footage has to be available. What? DD? Who's DD? Who's that? I don't have any faith in autopsies either. I don't know what that is, but you know, just by the wording, it doesn't. I don't have much faith in it. Oh, DoorDash. Okay. Yeah, just say DoorDash, would you? I get tired of everybody using all the abbreviations like they're just some expert and everybody should just be, you know, just type it in, okay? Pretty simple. I don't know. I think in these documents they would be putting the footage that they have because they were really specific on each camera that showed the Elantra, and I think if there were more, they would have added that. I would think. Because they even put the 1320 Linda Lane camera footage when it arrived at 329, but never mentioned it again. And that's why I think the vehicle in pass number 3 stopped on Taylor Avenue after going on Willanta Drive North, stopping, and doesn't drive by because law enforcement, you know, the investigators do not mention that it's there. However, on YouTube, that's exactly the time frame that's missing from the 5-hour surveillance footage from 1320 Linda Lane. Missing from 3:30 to 4:05. Exactly the time frame you'd need to see. Now, is that missing naturally? I mean, which doesn't seem very likely. I mean, what are the odds of that? Thanks, Mrs. W. Man, I've never seen... there isn't 1,107 people watching, by the way. That's another bull crap. I'll have to be contacting YouTube again. There's definitely not. There's probably 320 people. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's other footage somewhere else, but not the surveillance footage. They do everything that they've mentioned. They have. If they had more footage with that Elantra driving around, they would have mentioned it in those recent documents because it has it in order going around. You know, maybe they have some other footage between. I'm hoping they have other footage between 12:53 and 2:53 and 3:26. I'm hoping they have other footage. Wow, why are we still talking about Tim Tams? I find it interesting the PCA says the dog started to bark at 4:17. Means when he attacked Haley and Madison around 4:08, the dog didn't bark at him. He didn't attack them around 4:08 though. Yeah, that didn't happen. He parked at 4:08. He probably started attacking them at 4:10-ish, something like that. I would say like between 4:10 and 4:11, and then he was done killing everybody by 4:17 and exited the house. And it might be because Murphy maybe was on the deck of Kaylee's room, and then as he was leaving started barking at him. Maybe when he came in he didn't hear him, or whatever, who the hell knows. It's just the whole dog thing it's not really a big deal, right? It's like, Coburger was in there, he killed him. What the dog did is, it's a dog, dogs do whatever a dog does. Doesn't mean it barks every single second. Doesn't mean it does, especially a dog like Murphy, who's young and they're not aggressive type of dogs. All right, you guys, what do I need to do? Do I need to dance a jig tonight to get I need 8 $5 either memberships or super chats to get to the goal, and then I'll donate 5 memberships myself. That dog is a serving witness. Not really. Yeah. It's not a witness. It could have seen something. It's just a dog that was barking. You can't ask it any questions or... Yeah, if there's a hair in Coburger's home from The dog, he's screwed. You know, that's more stuff. Let's see. Yeah, and yeah, video's already dying down now. Does have 13,000 views. It's not the greatest. Yeah, it's like pulling teeth in here again tonight. Unbelievable. There we go. That's half of it by Lanky Tor. Now we need just 4 more, and then I'm going to donate the 5 memberships. Thank you, Lanky Tor. How's it going, Lanky Tor? It's kind of late, as I was told before the show started. Yeah, I mean, there was parties there all the time. Maybe he barked because he realized something happened. We don't know if it was Murphy's or not. We don't have the answer to the question. No, you don't hear a thud sound, Jack. You don't. You guys are, it's just amazing, you guys. They listen to this Linda Lane footage and they hear these sounds and they just say, yes, that's a thud and that's this and that, and you're just wrong, okay? Yeah, it's just not accurate. Let's see. Murphy may have been familiar with BK since he'd been stalking the home for a while. No. Like he went inside the house every time and he was walking around saying hi to Murphy, so he liked him. No. But one of the things John Douglas said when I was listening today, he said that a killer will often kill the strongest person first when they come in. But it kind of just depends on the motive of the person going into the house. You know, but did he even know that Ethan was even in there, you know? All right, who's going to get the other 4 memberships? And then I'll donate 5. Well, then we'll end up with 21 for the night. That'd be pretty good. Now let's see what we got for comments under here. Maybe I'll start at the very bottom. Very few super thanks in here either. Like 2 of them. Really struggle. Big struggle. Jeez. These guys, you know. Another video talked about a dog hair. Who cares? We'll get to know that it was a dog. If it was Murphy's hair, great. If it said it was Murphy's hair in the documents, it would be a big part of the story. If it says it's animal hair, it's not even video worthy at that point. We don't know what it means. Let's see. Yeah, this is like, I've already was going to do this, so that person said, put text messages, but that was going to be part of a larger, and then this one says, he had to have been stalking them for quite a while. I wonder who he saw first. I don't know. The animation would have made sense if the perpetrators were already familiar with the home. No. The animation makes sense, regardless. Who let the perpetrators inside? They want you to believe it's Dylan. How did the perpetrators know where each victim's bedrooms were located? Lastly, why leave 2 witnesses? See, this is a person that thinks Bethany and Dylan are involved. Another nutter. Did Dylan have her bedroom light on? We don't know. When the last time you read any court documents? Like every time. He reads them all. Where have you been? Great work, Gray. It would be fantastic if the prosecution had a timeline like this. Yeah, it would be. All right, since nobody's doing, I'm gonna try to set the goal at the top of the screen here. We need 5. Get 5 memberships. Should be pretty easy. Should be pretty easy, you guys. So there you go, at the top of the screen where you need 5 now. If we get to 4, it'll still be okay, but and we only got 1 coffee tonight. There's another one. Regarding the blood mitigation, I believe this was the shower curtain. Ah, Jesus. Ah, God. These are great, but what about the dog? Yeah, what about the dog? It has nothing to do with the video. Coburger walked 6 miles. Yes, he did it. Yes, it did it. Could do it. I'm not sure what that means. You should post the vehicle rate of speed. I said no thanks. Hasn't this already been shown on here? And no, I mean I've made other videos that are similar, but this one has the new timeline information. And I just keep putting them all together. You know, like I did one of them, you know, because these animations take forever. And then I put one together, and then another one together, and then another one together. Okay, well, Lanky Tor did it all by herself because nobody else was willing to, yeah, the newbies in here weren't able to help. So thanks, Lanky Tor, and then I'm going to go ahead and gift the 5 because of your generosity. Here we go. It's like, there we go. All right. Thanks, Lanky Tor. Now we've got 20. Lanky Tor did those 5. So right now we've got Bree, JK, Purity, Deb, Urxelbahn, Angel Fire, Nanny, Apple, Sarah, Bauman, Lorraine, Daddy Avery, and Jamie Harold. Yeah, I don't... somebody had a great point today. What was it? Oh, yeah, listen to this. This is common sense and logic. You know what they said? And it was great. It was in the comments section. I think it's in here somewhere. They said that Coburger didn't see Dylan Mortensen. And you know what his explanation was? It was perfect. Or, you know, whoever... I don't know if it was his or her that said it, but... they said because... he would have assumed if Dylan saw him that she would call 911 immediately. Instead, he goes outside and spends 3 minutes changing into, you know, the blood spatter mitigation and then drives away. That's a hell of a good point. I mean, that's a really, like, that's thinking the extra little bit there. And it's not even, it's totally logical, rational, etc. It means that she thinks he saw her because she could see one eyebrow, but if he saw her, he would have assumed that she might have called 911 right at that moment. And that's absolutely and even if he knew that she saw him, he would have probably gotten in his car if he decided not to kill her and just got the hell out of there as soon as possible. But he thought he killed anybody that was awake that saw him and took the time to do the blood spatter mitigation. I think that makes sense. Thank you, Jacqueline Prinsloo. Yeah, thank you. All right, here we go. What do we got? I think there were photos of the house interior. Yeah, there was real estate places online. You could see it. So, yeah, I mean, he could have actually gone online and looked at the real estate site that had the actual walkthrough images of that house. Okay, he could have done that. If Xana was in the kitchen, you'd think she would have seen BK pass from the stairs over to the living room. Well, why would he go to the living room? I don't think he went to the living room except for the fact that he heard from Xana. Maybe Xana is in the bathroom when BK goes to Xana's room. Yeah, I was just saying the other day that here's what a possibility was. That, let's say, I think I said it in my video. Like Coburger hears, it's okay, or somebody's here, and then he hears the sound coming from downstairs. Maybe he's just upstairs. I don't know where he is right this time. But he comes down and he goes into the living room thinking that's where the sound came from. And he goes into Xana's room because he sees the door open, maybe a light or something. And he knew that DoorDash was delivered to that room because he could see the light on when he was driving around. So then he goes in there and then he attacks Ethan on the bed. And he's bleeding. And then Xana comes back to the room and sees what's going on, and he goes, "It's okay, I'm here to help." Even though he's the killer, and then he attacks her. That sort of makes sense, that version. Makes a little bit of sense. There's a whole bunch of things that make sense, but, I guess we'll find out at some point. And we don't have enough information to be real certain about who the ordering of events. They know exactly how it happened. And I said this at the very beginning. They'll be able to determine any blood droplets that are in different rooms, the order. For example, if Xana's blood and Ethan's blood is up in Dylan's room, then they were in Madison's room, then it's likely that they were attacked first, because then the knife that had the blood on it, or his body, transferred it upstairs. But if you have, like, Madison Mogan and Kaylee Gonzalez's blood on the knife, it's likely going to be, and it's in Xana's room, then it came upstairs first down to there. Let's see. Well, in my video, you can see how I think Dylan was. That's how she explained it. There was, like, her door was open and she could see him. My opinion has always been infatuated with Maddie from the vegan restaurant. Well, we don't know about that, but and it wasn't a vegan restaurant. I don't know why everybody always says that. They serve vegan food, like most restaurants. Surprised by Xana being awake because he was on a timed mission. Right. I think he was more surprised that Kaylee was in there. Let's see. They were probably killed just before they called the cops. The timing does not add up, or the killer was hiding in the house for some time. That's why. What do you mean the timing doesn't add up? Everything adds up in this case. It's so clear to me. You might not like that the girls, were huddled up in the house and didn't call anybody until the morning. Didn't call 911, etc. until the morning. But they didn't want to verify their fears. I've been following this from day one. Just learned about the running AP app he used to log in, set so he could move fast. He worked as a butcher. Oh, Jesus. All this kind of stuff I don't. It's possible that Xana was putting his finished DoorDash in the kitchen, saw BG coming down. I thought when she's finishing the DoorDash, I thought maybe it was like 4:10 or 11 when she brings the bag back over there and sees him outside, maybe coming down the hill and saying, "Hey, there's somebody here," and then is followed to her room area from there and then goes upstairs. So maybe it was Dylan and Ethan first, but I'm not married to any idea here. I think it's likely, though, that he left the knife sheath on purpose and he thought he cleaned it really well, but he missed a spot. And that's what's really bugging him. It's eating him inside. I'm curious where he kept his knife as he went from upstairs to Xana's room to not drop any blood on the floor. Well, we don't know if I think there might be blood all over the place. They were just talking about footprints. We don't know if there's blood all over the place or not. Yeah, someone says Ethan Chapin was never out of bed. Now, in the animation that I use in the video, it's not my current animation position. I have Ethan on the bed in Xana's room. The animation that I made was an old animation that I put in. That was the 7 minutes that it would take to do the crime, and I had people just placed, you know, generally in rooms. I don't know exactly where they were. This is great work. I'm not sure if he hit Xana and Ethan first and came back to deal with Xana again. Right, so the thing coming back again is, it's okay, I'm here to help you to keep her quiet. That means she had already been attacked. But the version with, you know, he's in there with Ethan already, you know, then he could say, hey, it's okay, I'm here to help, you know. Although I think he says you, so that would make it a little different. He's out for a midnight drive, LOL. I think Madison Mogan went first. Moments later, KM. You mean Kaylee, KG. Then he came downstairs and spotted Xana Kernodle, who had just dropped her DoorDash off in the kitchen and was heading back to her room. Yeah, I mean, see, that makes sense. That's one of the theories we've talked about in here. Hey, thanks, Bree. Appreciate it. 5th super chat on a live stream. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I think, Zozo. He was not hiding in the house, people. Right. Yeah. It is weird. Yeah, that people follow. Yeah, like you want to look into Dylan and Bethany and see what they're doing, and just leave them alone, for God's sakes, you sick people. I mean, Jesus, who gives a crap? Now, if there's an article about them, shit, read it, you know. But to sit around and try to look into these people, and what Zozo said, Lisa Valenzuela, it's strange. It's even weirder that random people create rest in peace videos for people they never knew with angel wings, etc., or make them their profile picture. Yeah, I totally agree. You know, again, let me just say something. It doesn't make you look cool or super, have super virtue signals if you tell people, man, this case has really got to me, man. I can't sleep at night. I haven't slept in 2 weeks. I just keep thinking about what you're crazy. You are nuts, okay? First of all, you don't know these people. Secondly, this is true crime where, you're supposed to just sort of take a look at it from an outsider view and try to figure out what's going on or think through it. But, man, if you're sitting there with chills, you can't sleep at night and stuff, man, get the hell out of the genre, man. Go, watch videos on, planting pots, or like flower potting or whatever the hell it is. It's just weird to me. Why would you torture yourself like that? Yeah, to be able to do this effectively, you have to be completely sort of, like you're just looking at it from a distance. You're in tune with the facts, but you don't have any emotional attachment. And there's times where you sit around and you think about it, and you sort of feel bad and think about what it'd be like and so forth. But when you're sitting around thinking about and trying to work through the case, as soon as you start bringing in your emotions, you've lost all your ability to think rationally. You start trying to picture exactly how it went down and therefore this is a fact, and this is a fact, and this is a fact, and you really just don't know at all. Now, people do that all the time. They go, oh yeah, oh geez, I can just see it right now. You know, he came in and he snarled at him, and he did this and that, and you go through this whole rigmarole of thoughts, and you just have no ability to rationally think through the case. Right? And anytime I see somebody say, "Oh, I've got chills. I just wow, you know. I don't have trigger bunnies for you or anything like that." So I mean, I do have one. I do have a trigger bunny. It's right here, look. Yeah, look at this guy. It's a trigger bunny, honey. You ain't no dummy. It's a trigger bunny. It makes you feel sunny. I love you. Everything's gonna be okay, you guys. Everything is gonna be fine, okay? Here's a trigger bunny. Yeah, believe it or not, there's a creator that actually holds one in their hands. I mean, my God, it's just, wow. Unreal. Yeah, you feel better now? Hey, everybody, I'm going to put up a trick. Look at True Crime has crappy stuff that we talk about because it's part of the case, for God's sakes. All right? We don't sit there, and we don't need trigger bunnies, and we don't need to, gosh, Gray, you could have given me a warning before you showed that, you bastard. Well, how about this is True Crime? Okay, you're probably going to see some stuff you didn't want to see or talk about. Well, you should want to talk about it because that's what the genre is. I mean, who tunes into a true crime channel and not expect to have something you're talking about that might not be pleasant? It's weird, right? Yeah. Gosh, Gray, that isn't very inclusive. Here's the problem, man. If you have to cave in to the needs of the people that need trigger bunnies, it ruins the show for everybody else. Do you understand that? So it's up to those people to either not watch or adjust to the fact that true crime has bad things in it. It's weird. You try to, like, our society right now with this weak ass shit that it's like they make everybody cave to a just a ridiculous position somewhere. It's insane. Your adjustment period. All right, okay, wow, the same video of the car driving around that you have made on 1 million times already. How unique. How original. What a talent. Yeah, well, the difference is I made each portion of the new information that's out there and added it together to the next one, and then that was my final last one. These people are so stupid. It's like their brains don't comprehend. Yeah, I'm here to help with my ninja outfit. I wonder if his stops are him double checking his supplies. I don't think so. I think he's just trying to kill time. He's getting too antsy. Have you done a video of the audio that was caught on the Ring camera? No, because there is no audio that's caught on the Ring camera that's associated with the killing. They go, no, there's some really good audio. There's a girl screaming at 2:15, you guys. Can I ask you guys a question? Why should I care about a scream sound at 2:15 in a college apartment complex on that night? Why shouldn't I care about that? Can I ask that question? I want to see if you have the logic. Now, what are you talking about, Camilla? Go ahead. Why shouldn't I care about a screaming sound at 2:15? Go ahead. Come on, you guys, answer the question. You got it. Well, it's not just that. It's unrelated to the crime. I know. It doesn't matter. Okay, on college campuses, people are screaming all the time. They're like, whatever they're doing. It doesn't mean anything. Apparently they're all home, 1:30, 2 o'clock. But even if it doesn't matter that they were home, you know why? Because Xana was still using her TikTok, and Kaylee and Madison were calling Jack at like 2:50-ish, People were doing things. It has absolutely no relevance to the quadruple homicide, okay? And that's what I'm trying to get people to think more like that. Instead of just worrying about all these peripheral things that you hear and see, think through it and ask yourself, well, wait, how would this even matter? Because we know that they're all alive all the way up until like at least 3 o'clock, We know for certain. And they're likely all alive, even at 4:12, because Xana is on TikTok, and had there been something so brutal prior to that, way prior, before 4 o'clock, let's say, she wouldn't have been on TikTok, right? She'd be doing something else. Yeah, right. I know. Well, I have too, Dolphin. That's the headwind, though, that I have. It's like everybody wants something. The killer said, "I'm here to help you," and Dylan said he looked like a fireman. Okay, so what? I would really be interested in an in-depth report of each person's injuries. Yeah, well, maybe at trial. Wouldn't he have assumed somebody was awake, considering it's likely he passed and saw the DoorDash driver parked there? Like, he waited, 5 to 7 minutes? Yeah, I think he knew that there was somebody awake. He just knew that the back door he could go through and sneak up the back door and kill Madison. However, when he was doing that, Xana just happened to be walking around through the DoorDash delivery is a pretty... I think Xana might still be alive if she did not order if the DoorDash wasn't brought there. And Ethan Chapin. And I think Kaylee would still be alive if she just wasn't happening to be visiting. I mean, that's obvious, but it's almost like Madison Mogan was the target, and he was going to go do that, and it's only because... And Kaylee was killed because she happened to be in the same room in bed. I actually think if Kaylee was in her own room with her dog and was asleep, she might not have... If she didn't hear anything, she might still be alive. The only reason she might be dead is because she was sleeping in the same bed with Madison Mogan and woke up when Coburger came in there and he killed both of them. And I think that is very likely to be a reality. And then, because Xana was awake with the DoorDash delivery, she was able to see and hear Coburger and say, "Hey, there's somebody here." And that's what alerted Coburger to her being a witness and killed, went after her. And then also Ethan Chapin's there and they both got killed. Doesn't that seem pretty logical? It seems like that's how it likely... it's almost like the DoorDash and Kaylee not staying in her room is the only reason that the other 3 people were killed. Let's see. I took a lot of stuff. We've gone over that. Remember, Zoza, you had me go over it one night again? Yeah, there's an evidence list. But let's talk about what we were just talking about. I think Madison Mogan was the person that he was going after, and it's just that Kaylee was in the room. You know what it is what's weird to me is it's not an evidence list, it's a list of things that they gathered from the home. And for some reason, that element has never really been, unless you can tell me they found, there was that interesting stuff about they found like driver's license or something tucked in something. That if that turns out to be one of the victims, that's absolutely insane. I don't know. I just think there wasn't I think what they were referring, I mean, I kind of agree with the idea that he just had something that looked like that end of a vacuum. I don't know. Yeah, like in a box or something. But other than that, the item list that they gathered from the house has never been that interesting to me because we don't know what it showed. It's just, oh, we gathered a pair of black pants, and we gathered this, and we gathered this. And those are just all these things that they gathered, and there's a list, but we don't know what it means to the case. See what I'm saying? It just doesn't have any, like, it doesn't help me know anything because it doesn't tell us what the end result was. However, like lately we've found that they did the Amazon searches, and it turns out that he bought a K-bar knife on Amazon with the sheath, the same make and model. That's crazy, right? Hey, thanks, Alex. Alex, you email me, right? Are you the same Alex that emails me sometimes? I always battle back. I don't know about that, Alex. It's pretty funny. But thanks for supporting the channel anyways, Let's see. LL Log, Tony Montana. Isn't that a name from Scarface? Susan Montano, Tim Howells, and Marcy. Huh? What do you mean dog bag? One of the victims was beaten, so we don't know about that, Dolphin. I know you say that, but we don't know anything about what you just said. And not sexually. Apparently one of the victims was beaten so badly in the face they were unrecognizable. We don't know that. Nobody said that. The medical examiner never said it. None of the family members said that. So wherever you're hearing that from, I have no idea. Some YouTuber probably threw it out there. Right. Yeah, just don't throw stuff like that out there then if you don't know it's a fact. They took a vac from his house. Well, no, they only took the vacuum from his house. Yeah, to see if a dog hair was in the vacuum when he was vacuuming up his stuff. Like maybe he vacuumed his car with it. Something like that. That's why they're doing it. Well, that's all he said. He didn't mention. That's not a fact. That's not a fact, Dolphin 517. Yeah, you just said a whole different sentence up there. Saying that the daughter was assaulted is not the same as they were beaten so badly that you couldn't make out who they were. Come on, would you just be an adult, man? You're starting to sound like a lunatic. Let's see. Kaylee's injuries were worse than Steve Gonzalez. I don't know what that means. Yeah, her injuries were worse. What does that have to do with anything? It has nothing to do with being beaten so badly she was unrecognizable. It means that she was stabbed worse. More stab wounds. No, we don't know. He wasn't carrying a vacuum with him at the crime scene. I mean, come on. Coburger, the vacuum cleaner. Yeah, no, they just took this vacuum because he may have vacuumed his car with it. He may have vacuumed his house with it. And they want to see if he had transferred any dog hair or some hair from that house to his house and already vacuumed it up. That's the dumbest response I've ever seen, Dolphin. Yeah. Let's see. Thanks, Jessica Schubach. She was wearing me out. But if she's described... Right, but they were just saying it looked like a little vacuum, something like a vacuum in his hand. Why would he bring a vacuum to a crime? I mean, you know, common sense wise. She just said it looked like that. I believe the thing about it looked like the piece that you would put at the end of a vacuum, and it looks a little bit like a knife, you know? Like if you typed in vacuum, what is it? I don't know, what do you call those things? Head, or let's see, like corner adapter or something. Is that? Yeah, maybe like on this thing right here. Look, like that piece right there. I mean, somebody pointed that out on. God, what a joke! Get the hell out of here. And it had the right piece in there. Vacuum. Yeah, hose adapters. Is that the? Yeah, like in here maybe. On that thing. See that? So maybe she thought it looked like that. And that kind of makes sense, right? Like it looked like, you know, the thing, can you see it? I can't, it's on the right hand side of that. See that? It kind of looks like a knife. Yeah, I said like a corner tool. See that? I mean, maybe she thought that that's what it looked like. He was holding that type of thing. I think it'd be shocking if it literally looked like he had an entire vacuum in his hands. And then to assume that the vacuum at his house is the one that they think he was holding. I don't know, man. I think it's just that they want to go through the contents of his vacuum and see if it picked up anything incriminating. Why would he carry the sharpener with him? Why would you carry the sharpener of the K-bar knife to the crime scene? Are you going to have time? Hey, hold on, everybody. Victims, hold on a second, hold on. Let me sharpen this sucker up really quick. You wouldn't even bring it with you, all right? What could be scarier than a masked man with a vacuum? Boom. That's pretty good. No, she never said full vacuum, though. She never mentioned that word at all. She never said instead of a full-on vacuum. She just said a vacuum. Yeah, we didn't get to hear her explanation. Yeah, it could be, I don't know. Maybe it's she thought it looked like one of those smaller vacuums that you use, that you hold in your hand, that you just kind of... That's no way. There's no chance this case is thrown out. No chance at all. They all believe in this Dustbuster. They all believe in this Cy-Ray crap. I mean, Cy-Ray, God, give me a break. This guy is wow. Let's see, I think Xana ran back to the room. I believe there have been many other possible homies. There may have been another possible homie who was also stalking in the community. Nah. No, he was just going around killing time. He wasn't looking at another house. What were his options for disposing of the blood mitigation evidence when driving away? Yeah, there's 16 minutes of missing time. Great job. My scenario, when BK stops for 2 minutes behind the house, he is depositing mitigation items, then drives out. Right, that's what I already said. That's in my video. I think he heard Xana Kernodle. It's XK, not Z. Says, you know what's amazing is how few people know how to spell Xana Kernodle. I mean Xana, it's Xana. I think BK heard Danica Arnold, says someone is here, and attacks her first. Yeah, I mean that's my the second theory that I came up with is that Xana and Ethan were attacked first. Let's see. Could you add the time it arrives back in Pullman? Jeez, people just get so greedy. It's like you make a video, you spend hours and hours and hours on it, and then they want you to add this other piece, or it's just not good enough. And nobody else is even making anything close to attempting to make anything like it. So it's like, could you just give me a break? Yeah, it changed my opinion. My question is, why even carry in the knife sheath? Why leave it with? Why leave without it? Well, I think it might be a. Could have left it as a calling card, which is very common for serial killers. And maybe he was going to start off his serial killing career. We have the psycho in a white car stalking the residents like his prey. I would have expected screams for help, but it seems that never happened. That's because you watch too many horror movies on television. All women don't scream. Let's see. What do we got in here? Lisa always comments in these. Let's see. In interviews with Omega Chi survivors, they have talked about how they were screaming in their heads, but they were not making sound. Oh. Yeah, he took them all by surprise. Oh, I was talking about Bundy. People scream in movies. See? There you go. Look at Lisa Valenzuela. He keeps stopping because he's documenting his thoughts and feelings to complete his own criminal mind thesis. No way. I think Xana was in the kitchen and heard something from upstairs, went up to see what was happening, seen Brian, ran down the stairs shouting, there's someone here, went back to her room, tried to hold the door shut. Ethan asleep and probably thought it was a prank. Brian opened the door and said, don't worry, I'm here to help you. Stabbed Xana and Ethan. Got up, he stabbed Ethan. Yeah, that's not too bad, that theory there. It's kind of, it's very similar to ones that we've talked about. What an imagination. Look at it. Wow, this is about my video. What an imagination. Now, can you make one that uses the facts, not ones you made up? See, that's what's so crazy. There's nothing in the video other than the twice when it was heading south that I just sort of said, well, I think it's just one. It's all in there. Every bit of it. Every single second. That's exactly what this is. See, that's what's so... that's why what I mean is there's people out there that are so naive to the case that they watch these other people that will never tell you this kind of information. I think during those trial runs where he's circling like a shark, then repeatedly pulls over to the same spot on the main road out, he's rehearsing his quick exit. I don't think so, because that's not the way he exited. I think he drove out there, and I think he was trying to throw people off, because you see a vehicle driving this direction, and then it just disappears, doesn't show up again, and then it comes back in. But he would have known it was DoorDash. He wouldn't know it was DoorDash. I've not seen I never said he knew it was DoorDash. Yeah. 3D animation is such a good tool for recreating these kinds of cases. The murderer ran into Ethan or Xana, and likely Xana going back from getting the food or going upstairs to check on them, having heard the screaming. She picked up I think if she'd gone upstairs and saw them being attacked, she wouldn't have said, there's somebody here. She would have said, oh my God, call a cop, She definitely would have said, call 911 or call the police if she saw somebody being stabbed. Yeah, my theory is that Xana took her food bag to the kitchen and saw him. He says the helpline as she runs back to the room. No, that doesn't make sense, because you wouldn't say, "It's okay, I'm here to help," when nothing's happened yet. You know, you wouldn't say that to somebody the first time you see them. I don't think he saw Dylan. If he had seen her, he would have assumed she would call 911. Like, this is that one comment right here. It's really good. I don't think he saw Dylan. If he had seen her, he would have assumed she would call 911 or someone to come over right away, and he wouldn't have spent all that time outside by his car on blood mitigation. If he had seen Dylan and known she saw him, he would have got in his car right away to get the heck out of there as soon as possible. I think that's like, like that's just absolutely very reasonable thought. It drives me absolutely... I can't stand when people type this much in comments. You know, it's just too much. You know, nobody has that much time to spend all day listening to, even if it's good stuff. It's just, it drives me absolutely bonkers when people say that it's not enough time for him to commit the crime. It's not like he's behaving like the Golden State Killer and making sandwiches and drinking around. He was on a mission. He walked straight into the house, went right. That's what I've said 1,000 times. It's in the video. In this video, it shows you that. You don't need to repeat what I said. But my whole point is the amount of time that the evidence shows him have. I mean, I'm just saying, if you watch the 7-minute video, you understand the. Maybe you left how easily it would be that somebody could do that in 7 minutes. Maybe you left 2 surviving roommates alive so that law enforcement would suspect them. Pfft, Jesus. No. Question: being that it was so late, early in the morning, were there any other cars on the road he was driving around on? Yeah, I'm sure there was a car here and there. Yeah. But they weren't other white Elantras missing a front license plate. I've always thought it was possible that the killings could have happened in 10 to 15 minutes, even less. Yeah. It's so funny because I've had the 7 minutes and the 9-minute video out for 2 years. They've been out there and people just haven't seen them. I don't know how they don't get in front of people's eyes, or it's weird. Most of all the comments are pretty good, but there's a lot of the crappy ones that come in there. Here's one. You certainly do well what you do, Gray. You brought this together perfectly. It was phenomenal to watch, really. It made complete sense, and I do not think anyone, whether you believe Brian Coburger innocent or guilty, I personally believe he's guilty of sin, you certainly cannot deny how detailed the time frame and timeline is in this video, proves to show that it certainly allows one to be well capable of committing the horrific crime in the allotted time available. Respect, Gray, mad respect on putting it all, the effort and time to complete this project, and huge thanks for bringing it to share with us. Was extraordinary to watch and listen to. Every moment was captivating. Yeah, that's pretty cool. There you go. That's what I wish I heard more of, stuff like that. Really excellent video. Can't imagine how much time that it took. Took forever. That's why it's frustrating when they don't do well, and people, you know, when you don't get the support in the live streams talking about the video or the video itself. it's kind of demoralizing. I never questioned the 7 minutes. That's plenty of time. What makes me wonder is how he did all that and didn't end up with so much as a nick from that knife. No cuts or other wounds, and he was so meticulous outside the house at the crime scene that he didn't mess up enough to even get one drop or smudge. Yeah, well, he's a criminology doctoral student, or candidate, or whatever the hell you call it. Let's see. They were full of alcohol except Ethan. There's no way one killer could do blah, 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 blah. There's no way one... That's the one I hate the most. There's no way one killer could do this. Like, my God. You must be in a shelter somewhere. The fact this man driving around looked as though he was buried familiar with the area. I don't know what that means. Thank you so much for this. That was so much time. Watching this made me really think he had no idea he forgot the sheath. I think he thought he had gotten away with it. Definitely. I think there's a good chance he left it there intentionally. As a retired hospital nurse, I can assure you that it is possible to be trained to put on PPE in a controlled way so as not to contaminate the PPE with your uniform and skin, then attend a patient because contaminated with their disease and body fluids. Then take off the PPE in a specific order, rolling everything up inside out. So that's exactly how I was trying to explain it. So that it all ends up inside the gown, then throw the rolled up ball in the bin with no contamination on the outside. Formerly the let's just read this. This is good. So listen to this, pro burgers.
As a retired hospital nurse, I can assure you that it is possible to be trained to put on PPE in a controlled way so as not to contaminate the PPE with your uniform and skin, then attend a patient, become contaminated with their disease and body fluids. Then take off the PPE in a specific order, rolling everything up inside out so that it all ends up inside the gown, then throw the rolled up ball in the bin with no contamination on the outside, formerly the inside that was, touching you, of the ball of discarded PPE in the bin. If you assume he was wearing a full suit covering his legs like a forensic coverall, this would also be possible. This is how nurses who have separate patients to care for manage not to transfer highly contagious diseases to their other patients on that shift. We're trained to put PPE on and off in a very specific way, one piece at a time. Same with surgeons. It's not difficult, it just takes training and a small amount of practice.
Boom. You guys? I mean, that's it, right? That's the answer. And he is, that's what he was planning on doing. And he even wrote this stuff up in his document where he wrote that, like, procedural, how not to contaminate a crime scene. It's the same thing. But the pro burgers, they don't want to hear it. It's just, hey, screw it. Wow, you're right. 7 minutes is plenty of time, especially if you're manic and determined. Thank you for your information. It really makes sense now. See, that's what I really want to hear. But watch, there'll probably be these replies saying, you're nuts. Let's see. Yeah, it's completely ridiculous to act like it's people who are mostly asleep in 7 minutes is impossible. How long do these people think it takes? Who thinks someone is ready to ambush you like that in your own home? He caught them completely off guard. Yeah, this is all stuff we've said. No way this was done by one killer. See, there's the lunatic fringe right there. Yes, without leaving traces or being noticed. Well, how come, this is the crazy logic to me. No way this was done by one killer so fast and without leaving traces or being noticed. Well, wouldn't two people make it more likely that they left traces and they were more likely to be noticed? You know what I mean? It's like these people don't think through things. It's wild. Powerful video. This kind of information, especially the time clock while he is in the house, should be in the prosecution opening statement. I hear that a lot on some of my videos like this, that they should actually be used, like something similar in court. This is the video that explains it all perfectly. Best video yet, Gray. The prosecution needs to study this. I also love the live shots of the road mixed in. Let's see. Yeah, along with the 2 surviving roommates, where on social media and calling friends and family because they were really scared from 4 a.m. to 12 p.m. the next day. Oh, and I forgot to add in my opening argument that the girls didn't see any blood in the house after freaking out, nor did they walk around and knock on, see, these are the trolls. Just absolute morons. Yeah, because Dylan Morton said, yeah, if you read the text messages and you listen to the 911 call and you still think that Dylan and them are involved, there is something wrong with your brain, okay? Thank you, Gray, for that absolute amazing animation. That was brilliant. You got to get with the head detective on the case. I mean, I wouldn't mind helping and saying, hey, you guys, make something kind of like this, because this is what the jury needs to see. I did the same thing in the Delphi case, I don't know if they ever used anything, but there were some things that were suspiciously similar, for sure. Same concepts. Like I always said, Richard Allen is bridge guy. That was my phrase that I always said, and that's the exact phrase they started using. And all they needed to do was to prove that Richard Allen was bridge guy, and that makes the case. And that's exactly what they did, and he was convicted because he is the killer in that case. Good job. You're so good. Just don't sabotage yourself. You're brilliant. Yeah, well, if I don't know what you're referring to when you say that, but some people don't like that on my show. I say, hey, everybody, if you could please help support the channel. I don't know any way else to do it. Throughout the show, I try to get people to support the channel, and it gets really frustrating when people don't do it, when they're sitting here watching for 3 hours or so, and it's like I'm doing a show, and I'm asking for the support because that's the only income on these live streams where I'm sitting here for hours, right? The ad revenue on these, you might make $10. It's the shitty. Videos, you can make decent income, but live streams, for some reason, it's totally different. They don't give you the same percentage or whatever the hell it is, and I don't like having to ask all the time, but it seems like I'm just sort of relegated to asking, because when I don't ask, sometimes there's like hours that go by and there's zero support. And it didn't used to be like that. The people watching and the freaks would always just kind of support the channel naturally, and now I have to ask. And kind of a shitty feeling, but it'd be great if we could get back to the point where you guys just know what our mission is and you know what it takes to support the channel, etc. But I'm always going to keep putting out the good work. All right. Let's see. This video sure put things into perspective. This is just 23 minutes ago. I agree. There was plenty of time to do the deeds. He's tall, and that aids his movement. Takes less time to cover more ground unless he has found that the prosecution planted the DNA on the knife. Well, it's not going to happen, which I highly doubt. He has no defense. How else would it have gotten there? They would have had to have known it was him even before getting the DNA from his dad. And, well, they did. They already had done the genealogy before they got the DNA from the dad. What are those 2 parallel structures next to the house? I don't know what you're talking about. An apartment? Gray, what about the front door being left open? Yeah, what about it? I want so much to watch your content, but it's just me, or is the audio muffled and hard to hear? I think it's just you. Yeah. And so here it is again, a third time. Does that sound muffled to you guys? Listen. Time, it drives around and does not go into the King Road. That sounds pretty crystal clear to me. I don't know what else to do for you. Yeah. Well, this one's pretty good. You know, 1.2 thousand. See what I look at, if you go to the analytics right here, so there's 12,000 views right there, but the real number of views is right there, which isn't way more, but 13,900. But it's always the engagement number. So the video is 24 minutes and 51 seconds, and the average time is 11 minutes and 18 seconds watched, which is pretty good, you know. It's like 40%, but it's just kind of weird, right? Typical is 948 to 1048. Performance 30 seconds more than usual. I don't know. Feels like these videos are ones that people should be watching the whole damn thing, doesn't it? All right, you guys. I think that's going to do it for me tonight. Appreciate everybody being here. Thanks, Nikki Zibs, 27 months. Then Jessica Schubach, Walker. Calm down, air buddy. One for you. K Me. Vicky White gifted a membership. Then Marilees. Then Curly Lock Diva or something. Alan McMahon. You always follow. He's in the YouTube trenches. Gifted 5 memberships. Then Mick Giller. Ducky, new member. Then Ducky gifted 1. Then Jennifer DeMar. Then Jack D. Then Maury A. Then Jennifer DeMar. Marilees. Walker. And then Phyllis Watson, a new member. Jim Lon. Name and badge number. And then Terry S. Tamran did a cat eye. And then Walker gifted 1. Then Phyllis Watson. Then Jim Lon. Then Deidre Gambrel. Then Walker gifted 1. Then Mrs. W. Lanky Tor came in and got us to the goal. Then I gifted 5 memberships. Then we have Jacqueline Prislu, Bree, Jim Lon. Then Alex gifted 5. Then Jim Lon. All right. And did we ever get more than that one? Wow, just one buy me a coffee. Jeez. But we did get a PayPal from Denise. Great work on all the BK videos. You know what's weird is I think my work on all the videos that I make is good. People just aren't interested in those cases, even though I take the same effort in those. You know what? Which one I wanted to go over again one day is that I forgot her name right now, but it's the one that lady was the deaf lady who worked at the bank, and her husband apparently, like, he was sort of having an affair, and he's deaf too, and the deaf community is pretty they just kind of stick together. And then she took a break during the night, went to this parked her car, and it was weird because then the car was without her in it, was driven back around and parked, but then she went missing. But she was talking to another deaf person at the gas station, and then they found like some of her belongings down the highway, and then eventually like a body floated to the surface that was weighted down with cement blocks, and it was her. But then they also found her shoes placed neatly together on the ice of a pond. I mean, it was just the craziest thing ever. I want to go over that one again. I actually have a video I made on it. A Phantom Elantra? What the hell are you talking about, Melissa? Alright, so, and also thanks to Lisa on the coffee. So there you go. Alright, everybody. Thank you all for being here. Yes, it's later night show, everybody. That's right. That's right. And thanks for being here. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.
Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, thug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Greg is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a specter with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to it.
Correct.